Right. And we are now rolling.
Bring it
Woohoo!
on.
All right. El Palco de Honor. This is Christian Perez, founding member of Peña Madridista Sur de California. And I'm here with the CESAR OROZCO, vice chairman of Peña Madridista San Francisco Bay Area. CESAR, welcome back.
Christian, my brother, mi hermano, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here as always. You know that it's never a dull moment when you and I get together. So it's an honor. It's lots to talk about, lots of excitement in the air. We got some huge games coming up. Bring it on.
Oh man, get those engines rolling, man. I mean, honestly, it's rev it up, man. So first of all, before we get into that, so how's everything up in San Francisco? It's now we're
Things are
entering.
good. Things are good. San Francisco's coming back alive. I'm not gonna lie. It seems like little by little there is. We've been going a lot with the state mandates. So kind of the Bay Area swung whichever way. LA and Sacramento basically dictated, and it's been good. Restaurants are back opening up, life's coming back around normal, kids are going back to school maskless. I think the rates have been low enough that vaccination is really making a dent on things. I just hope that we don't hit another spike, as we did in the last couple of years. I think every time there's been a huge event or a huge weekend like 4th of July, Christmas, Memorial, things tend to loosen up, and then we've seen spikes on that. So I hope that we are on the better side of this pandemic now, and we are not going to see that come up in the next big weekend coming up in May.
Yeah, well, it's great to hear that kids are back in school and under conditions that are normal, that most people would agree with, and businesses being able to cater to in-person transactions. That's very big. That's enormous for a lot of mom and pop shops. Up there.
Needed. It's been a very, very long 2 years for businesses, for communities, for families. I can speak. We had a rough patch as well as a Peña. I think it's with the best interest of everybody staying safe and at home. We had to sacrifice any potential social gathering, and it was fine. It was for the greater good, and I think little by little we're going to come back around. We just, we're getting there. It will take time, but we'll be there.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, that's a lot of people have a lot of concerns, obviously, with that, and we want to think for everyone's safety, obviously. So it's a welcome signal. I mean, over here in Los Angeles and Southern California, I mean, it's we've had a lot of reversals of the orders of the mandates. Now it's leveling off. People are meeting with each other and being able to go around. I mean, you still see people outside with masks that decide to do it in their own decision, which is perfectly fine. But in terms of the top-down mechanism, let's say, that is loosening up. Now, hopefully, we can make sure that this continues as long as it can as possible, making sure that we are moving in the right direction. Obviously, so it's good.
Agreed. Yeah, we've seen the same thing up here. It's still a lot of personal choice on groups wearing masks. Actually, I've noticed that at work. We have obviously a facility of 150 people where I work at. So a lot of people voluntarily keep wearing them in high traffic areas, and that's reassuring to me because I've been doing it myself. Like if it's an environment where I'm at a distance, I don't mind, but I'm still taking my precautions. I got 2 little ones at home, a 1-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. I have to do it for them at the very minimum.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. And with regard to the Peñas, I mean, we've been hit really hard because a lot of like the bread and butter for Peñismo in the United States is getting together and viewing parties to watch our team play. And that was brought to a screeching halt. Obviously, not only the team not playing at all, but also moving forward and not being able to do it either by order or by everyone's uneasiness to get together. So now we're entering the last third of this season, and there are some, like you mentioned, some big games coming up. Obviously, we'll get into them in a moment, but it's reassuring to see that people are now trusting each other again.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think it is not just people getting used to things or people just forgetting about what's happened. I think people are starting to trust the process and understand that things were put in place for a reason. And I think little by little, we will come up. I've seen countries that are probably perhaps leaps and bounds ahead of where we are currently right now, but they already went through the same process we are. So it's a learning experience for everyone, and we'll be there.
Yeah. All right, man. So let's dive right into it. Yesterday against Real Sociedad, let's put some context behind this. Okay, so Real Sociedad, they were a Europa League team, got knocked out by Leipzig, top six, top seven standing in La Liga. So this is a competitive team. They're a good team. They were competing in the top ranks of La Liga in the first half of the season. Now, what they're playing for, they don't have Copa. They La Liga, they're right there trying to compete it for the Europa League next season. So this is a big game for them, and for Madrid, it's a trap game because they have this monumental game against PSG second leg Wednesday night. So you're thinking, okay, this a little bit of a conditioning going on here. It could be a trap where Sociedad can come into the Bernabeu and take out a result. So what did you think of this game going into this game, and what did you see?
It was come on the field with a knife in your mouth because we're going hunting. We had to take no chances, and I think the team, knowing that we were coming in with a few players unavailable. Tony Kroos obviously is a huge piece of that midfield that was not there. Valverde, who everybody was like, oh, Valverde's in and get him ready for PSG. Bam, he gets a severe cold and he gets knocked out too. So I gotta admit that I was happy to see that Eduardo Kamavinga was going to get that shot. I am a big fan of this kid. I've been preaching about this kid before he joined Madrid because I've liked him so much. When he came to Madrid and had that glorious debut with a goal in Liga and then did it again in Champions League, I don't understand why his lack of minutes has been there. Maybe they're protecting him from himself. As you know, he's 19 years old, coming into an elite team. I get that, but the kid has a bright future, and I see that. Some of those plays that he just pulls off here and there, like you don't expect him. He seems a very, very relaxed kid. So I knew that this was his chance to shine in the midfield, and he did not disappoint. Let me tell you, I was more than pleased with his performance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just to lightly respond to that, who does he have ahead of him?
He has the best midfield in the world and perhaps in history. So you tell me.
I'm not trying to set you up in that manner, but I hear that constantly about subs that we have, and you hear the critics. I won't name anyone, but
I get you.
That are, why is this guy should be playing more? Why are they play? I'm like, who's ahead of him? Mm-hmm. Oh, right. Okay.
and not only does he have the best midfielder in the world, then he has a Federico Valverde who is a stud in midfield and will anchor that midfield for years to come as long as he remains in Madrid. So he has 4 world-class players ahead of him. I get that. He is 19. Maybe he needs to be protected from himself of that eagerness to want to play or be in discontent with the coach because he's not getting enough minutes. I get that. Coming to Madrid, there's very few players that, unless you're world-class, that you'll come in and you'll start 80% of the games. You just don't come to a team to Madrid. You have to earn your right to be an everyday starter. And it takes time because Madrid has the best players in the world. So unless you get into that echelon of players like that, you will have to earn your minutes every single day.
Yeah, and I think just to piggyback off of what you're saying, we do face that in our everyday life as you and I and our fellow penistas, in terms of we're working in a company and we have someone ahead of us that has seniority, they have the expertise, and they have they're the veterans, right? They're the veterans that are in those positions to make those decisions, to run that type of work. And you're under one level below, you're coming in, you have to pay your dues. You have to pay your dues, and it might take a short amount of time depending on who's ahead of you, or a lot longer depending on what the structure is. But that's pretty much what Eduardo Kamavinga and Dani Ceballos, for that matter,
who is getting a lot of last minutes, but he's getting them. He's getting more minutes than he had in the previous years in Madrid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a matter of paying dues. Now, if the front line, the midfield that we have is not performing at 100% for a long stretch, then of course there's going to be moves. That's how we operate. You know what I mean? That's how
Casemiro got his spot and became one of the best midfielders in the world. I mean, if you remember well enough, he was a Castilla, goes to Porto, comes back, and it took a Sami Khedira long-term injury, and Casemiro came in and just said, "Well, I'm sorry, Sammy, who?" And no disrespect to Mr. Khedira, because Sammy was great for us for so many years, but I think Casemiro just came and said, "This is my spot now, Sammy. now if you want it back, you're gonna have to fight for it. And toward the end of this contract, Khedira ended up moving on to Juventus instead. But I think it's we've been spoiled with a plethora of magnificent midfielders for a long time.
Now, this play, I was ready to throw the remote at the TV. The penalty that we committed against Silva in the 10th minute, Danny Carvajal. So what happened there?
I don't know what's going on with Danny. That's 2 for 2 in big games. He did it against PSG until Saint Courtois decided to come in and save us at that time, because he did. I know that I feel like Danny's playing with a chip on his shoulder, knowing that he's has gotten that injury prone label by many critics, by many people in the media. And I don't know exactly what perception there is within the club. I don't think the club will ever publicly even mention anything like this, because that's not who the club is. But I think Danny's playing with that chip of saying, I know who I am. I know when I'm 100%, Danny is second to none in that right flank. But I feel like all this time he has missed, especially recently, has made him have to reprove himself for some reason. I don't know if to himself or to critics, to the media, to others. But I absolutely believe that might affect him sometimes in some plays that actually makes them make questionable calls or make questionable tackles. If they're outside the box, knock yourself out, pal. I'm a defender. I like it. I'm a physical player. In the box, it makes me cringe. I don't think Sociedad was playing well enough in the first 10 minutes to earn the 1-0 up. I think Madrid dominated the game nonstop. So, and that's probably one of the reasons why Real Madrid did not put their arms down or feel like, here we go again, having to battle against the current after they went down 1-0, because that PK was such an isolated goal that they got. It's not like Sociedad was on us and we were trying to defend the goal tooth and nail. So I think that's why Madrid said, okay, now we really got to step on this. And that actually, I feel like, fired up the team even more, because we had a severe 25 to 30 minutes where we were just bum, bam, bum, constantly on and on and on. I think Danny is having some second thoughts, or he's just making a couple questionable slides and tackles that are too risky they're too scary to think that it could repeat itself again on Wednesday, because that could mean we are in deep trouble. Right now, I don't think we're in trouble against PSG yet.
Well, okay. Here's the thing, is that when we played the first leg in Paris, when he's guarding Kylian Mbappe, is one of the fastest forwards in Europe.
And he proved that he is very, very physically strong, because he shoved everyone out of the way every time he ran down the left flank. I was impressed by Kylian's physical strength. Mm-hmm. He doesn't look it.
Yeah, so Danny's 30 and Kylian is 22, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So he's 8 years on him. Now, he committed the penalty on him. Yeah, that was a bad play. I'm not saying I forgive it, but I kind of understand.
Exactly.
The one against Sociedad with David Silva basically putting him on, making him, commit a foul like that, that to me was inexcusable, because
it was silly at best.
David Silva is what, 35?
6? In the latter part of his career, I think Chino Silva has been an amazing player throughout his career, but Chino Silva is not going to outrun Danny Carvajal or almost anyone else.
No, and he wasn't shooting on goal, by the way. He was trying to get around him, and Danny he reacted poorly and stepped on him. And I'm thinking, okay, I understand there's quick movements and you have your thing, going 1,000 miles an hour of how to make a play in the box because of VAR. I understand all of that, but this is not the same thing as what happened in the first leg. So I was frothing at the mouth when I saw that play, thinking, okay, now we're down 1-0 early. I said, okay, there's plenty of time. There's 80 minutes to go. But Sociedad had 5 in the back, and we were having a hard time getting in there. We were taking shots outside, and they were off target. Like, I was thinking, oh no, we've seen this movie before, right?
My big difference I noticed though, Sociedad Sociedad is not a team that plays to park the bus 90 minutes and kills you on a counter the way a lot of lower level teams are. But when I mean lower level, I don't mean disrespect. I just mean lower in the table. More modest teams. I think teams like Elche, teams like Cadiz, teams like that are typically fighting relegation. They are meant to go and park the bus 90 minutes, and they know how to do it, and they do it well because they practice it more often than not. Sociedad doesn't do that. I told my wife as we were watching the game yesterday, I was like, Sociedad's making a mistake. They found themselves in a position where they're winning, and they're going to try to protect that goal lead at whatever cost it takes, and they're going to pay. And sure enough, I think that once Madrid opened the can with the first goal, it was a complete. I think Sociedad found themselves in deep trouble.
I think, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I think that, this is something that I talked to other friends of ours, and I would say, okay, you're running up against a team that loves to pack the box with a lot of bodies. You can't get in there. The best option you have is shoot from outside on goal. And the first two goals actually were absolutely gorgeous shots.
I did not think that we're going to see a better goal than Kamavinga, and then here comes Luka Modric. The way he's done it, and countless amount of goal that it ended, but his goal against Sociedad reminded me of that amazing goal he put against Manchester United in the Champions League back in his first year. Toward the end of the season, where everybody doubted Modric as the worst signing in Madrid's history, or perhaps in so long, and then Madrid comes around, puts that beautiful goal, puts us through the next round, and literally that is the day that Modric arrived and said, I am here to stay. I am the best midfielder in the world.
I still remember that headline. 42 millones para tapar vergüenzas.
It hurt. And you know what? If I had been Modric, I think I would have saved that newspaper, framed it, and said, that is a headline that made me who I am, because he was a great player coming out of Tottenham, but he had a tough adjustment. Yeah, he did. Absolutely. It took him more than half a season to get there. But what player really comes and clicks like this into a team like Real Madrid? Not many.
Well, actually, truth be told, I think, what is it, 3 days after he signed, we won the Super Cup and he was on the team.
Good luck charm, right?
So, I mean, right away, he lifted a trophy.
Talk about perfect timing to join a team, right? I don't think he had even had practice with the team yet, because I remember that was a very, very lengthy summer, the way Dan Levy likes to cook him. He likes to punish you for taking players out of Tottenham. Yeah, it was a last-minute deal with Tottenham. That was a cruel summer.
Do you remember? Here's some trivia. What was the global aggregate of that Super Cup against Barcelona?
Oh crap! Yeah, I'm not even gonna take a chance.
I can tell you the first leg and second leg scores.
Bring it on. I don't want to embarrass myself. So
3-2 in Barcelona, 2-1 in Madrid. We advanced because of away goals. We won because of away goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that hurts.
Oh, that hurt bad. That hurt them.
I've always respected and understood the away goal rule, but I've always not necessarily been embracing it and saying go for it. Like, if it were my choice, I like what the Champions League did. I like that there's no more away goal rule. I think it's earn it. If that's I get that some stadiums are a lot more hostile than others, but it's so be it. If you really want to prove you're the best, go on and win. I think it's what it takes a toll on teams.
That was, that was a time period where it was Guardiola versus Mourinho. It was the two best teams in Europe in the same country, in the same league, just duking it out. Every title they ran into each other, there was a statement to be made. It was electric. Every game. I mean, I remember those games. I mean, those were just really, really firepower matchups. Like they were built to match each other up. If you saw the formation, not the formation, but the lineups, position in terms of the talent. I mean, it was just.
I think that was the definition of why Mourinho came to Madrid. I think that series, was that the year that we faced Barcelona like 5 times? Or was that the next year?
No, we faced them 5 times in 2.5 weeks in 2011.
Okay, yeah, and I remember. I mean, that was brutal. But yeah, I recall
I think
very
there's
clearly. Recent Mourinho was brought in for us to be able to kill the momentum that Barcelona had built globally, not just in La Liga, because we needed a coach with his vision, with his tactics, with his demeanor, with everything that came along, good and bad. We needed that at the time, and I think that made us one of the most lethal clubs in Europe.
Yeah.
Especially on the counter. I think without those 2 years of Mourinho, I don't know that we would have lifted 4 champions, and within the following 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was underwhelming because of the squad that he had for those 3 seasons. We should have had at least a Champions League title inside that, and we did not. Didn't even make a final, and I still hold him accountable for that, as every Madridista should.
Dortmund still hurts.
But context-wise, again, we have to play wide-angle lens here. 2009, Don Florentino comes back for the second stint. Barcelona wins a treble. We had Pellegrini as manager. We don't win anything 2009, 2010. Jose Mourinho leads Inter Milan to win the treble and win the Champions League final in our stadium. So right there was a hard decision was made, and I actually applaud the board for doing this. They fired Pellegrini. They paid 20 million euros to Inter to break that contract to sign him and bring him in, because that was an emergency move as to, okay, no, we got to make something pop.
Let's not remember that not only did Mourinho win the treble with Inter, he knocked out Barca in semifinals, if I recall correctly, to go on and win the Champions. I think that sequence of events of I still remember Mourinho celebrating in the stadium with the sprinklers on, advancing to the next, because that's how petty of a move it was to turn on the sprinklers immediately after. Whether it was an accident or not, that's a different story. I'm not going to get into it. But it was silly that your team doesn't advance, so the sprinklers go off, and then Mourinho is celebrating like he had just won the Champions, not knowing what was coming up for him in 3 weeks.
Yeah, and that Inter team, I mean, that defense they had, I mean, it's really hard.
Their attack. I mean, you're talking about Samuel Eto'o left Barcelona to go on and win a Champions League. Snyder, we had just let go of Snyder, and he goes on and leads that team to a Champions League.
Yeah, you had Milito, who scored 2 goals in the final. I mean, there was some. I mean, you had.
They were a great team.
That was a great team. And I remember first leg in Milan, they won 3-1, and they lose 1-0 in Barcelona. But that's enough to advance to the final. That's enough.
They knew what they knew they had it in their pocket as long as they prevented Barca from getting a second one.
Right. So then now we have Mourinho for 3 seasons, and he puts in the program, and then from there, Ancelotti comes in 2013, and there it is. It's like the team, the base was there, built by Mourinho, and those pieces were there. And then you have a change, obviously, at the top of the manager, and you're able to refine those details. And what detail we were missing, we were able to overcome it. I remember those semifinals against Bayern Munich in 2014, where before there's a before and after with 2014, because everyone says it's the Sergio Ramos goal. I would say the impact was the semifinal when we knocked out Bayern Munich 5-0, 4-0 in Munich.
I think we put the fear in Europe. We earned our nickname the Vikingos because we came and terrorized and took over Europe. And it takes a system. It doesn't take a leap of faith, and it doesn't take a magical day, and you don't need a 4-leaf clover. It takes a system that works and has been put in place and has been worked over and over and over until you polish that gem and you get that bright stone.
Yeah, because before that, we could not win in Munich. I mean, even when we knocked him off in the year 2000, we lost in Munich. We had a goal by Anelka that put us in the final, but we lost that game.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that vividly. Yeah, that was an agonizing Champions League, because we weren't coming in even though we had just won La Septima a couple years back, we weren't coming in as the favorites. We were coming in as high underdogs. That Bayern Munich team was exquisite. It was magnificent. I remember so many players that were there, and I mean, Oliver Kahn, to this day, I still consider him one of the greatest goalies I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And that was the old arena, by the way.
Yeah, that was still the Olympic of Munich.
There it is. You said it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So again, we're this is a free lesson for all the.
We could talk history forever, couldn't
Oh
we?
yeah, we can talk forever, no doubt, and we'll get to more in a minute. Okay, so all right, back to the
Back to Sociedad.
back to the Sociedad game. Okay, so we get those 2 goals, and we finish the first half, just like thunder and lightning, basically. And then this is what surprised me. I wanted to ask you this. Okay, the second half is about to begin, and Real Sociedad, Imanol makes the change to take David Silva out. And I was watching that saying, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?
I
He
think
invoked a penalty. They don't have a playmaker. What are you doing?
he put all his chips in Oyarzabal, hoping that he would be the spark by changing the system, but it failed. It failed him 100%. Again, going back to David Silva, an amazing player throughout his time. He is not the David Silva that was in so many teams. The David Silva that displayed great characteristics in Valencia or in Manchester. I get that, but he's still a playmaker. That's slower, of course, and Father Time does not forgive. But the playmaking abilities are still there, and I think putting all your chips in Oyarzabal and Alexander Isaac, who I think it's a good forward, but I think that instead of being an insolent shock to the team, actually he took out the one piece that could have helped them maintain, I don't know, some type of, and it was something that would have been able to rival Madrid.
Right. Well, okay. So he's the brains of the outfit.
Mm-hmm.
You remove the brains, the body doesn't know what to do. And that's exactly what we saw in the second half. It wasn't like, okay, we're down 2-1. All right. We need to figure out how to get back in this game, but we cannot let this game get away from us. But what happened was you take that playmaker out, and they were a mess. They were a mess defensively. They didn't have any more offense. Every goal that Madrid scored after the second goal, the third goal, the fourth, I mean, it just came compounding, and it could have been more goals if the VAR didn't take those goals away for the offside. There were 2 goals that Karim scored that were off. One should not have been.
One should not have been.
One should not have been called off. That was on the line. Okay, I mean, I would use the phrase of beyond a reasonable doubt, it has to be overturned, and it was not at all that anywhere close to that. Okay?
I gotta get, but you know what? I'm gonna look at the silver linings here. Without that goal being called back by Karim Benzema, we might have not seen that beautiful shot by Luka. Because it was a play shortly after. They were still out there trying to get the lead before halftime. You already scored the second one. I don't know. Madrid might have just relaxed a little bit just to say, okay, we're 2-1 up. Let's go to halftime. We'll take over in the second half again. Mm-hmm. That is the only silver lining I'm looking at because of the beautiful goal that Luka gave us. But Karim should have had 3 yesterday, or at least 2.
I called it an unofficial hat trick. And then the fourth goal, I mean, I know that people make a big deal about who scored it because it's Asensio, right? But the thing is, Casemiro's pass to...
Oh, my goodness. I felt like Xabi Alonso is the one that actually
Exactly. I was about to go there. Xabi Alonso, I mean, he would do passes like that. We remember those passes he used to make.
Yeah, right? Very a la David Beckham, very a la Steven Gerrard, that would put just pass to the boot. And I gotta tell you, I mean, Casemiro saw him. He saw Danny just take off with nobody following him. He goes like, "Oh, this is it." What a beautiful, beautiful way to execute, and way to go on Danny, because he still dribbles past the defender so that he can just give that one pass. I mean, Marco Asensio hadn't even started sweating yet, much less touch the ball.
He has a knack for that, doesn't he? Right, he comes right in and he scores with it inside of 5 minutes. I mean,
either that or he would just only put beautiful goals from outside the box.
I would say Danny, vindicated himself in this game by, he did give up the penalty, but he gave an assist.
But he gave us one back.
So there you go. I vindicated in that regard.
I can live with that.
Yeah, I know. I can live with that, but I still. Let me get your thoughts on this as well. I think that Madrid need to bring another right back in.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying to fire Danny at all. I didn't say
no. I think we need to plan just the same way we did with Mendy and Marcelo. Marcelo could stay here another year or 2 if he wanted to assume his role as the way Manolo Sanchez did, or other players, where they know that they're now the second or even third option at that role, but they're there for their love to the club, and the club wants to have them there. I think Danny will transition into that. My question is who? I don't know that I know that Odriozola is having a great season in Italy. I haven't seen it enough to say he needs to come back. And if he's coming back, am I going to see more of the same that I saw in the past, where I know that he has future, he has great abilities, but he's not quite there? It puts that bug in everyone's head. How much it would really mess up by letting go of Hakimi? And I know that he brought in 40-something million euros, and he went and did great in Italy, and now he is with PSG. And the unspoken battle we have with PSG because of the whole Mbappe system, I think that you're never going to go in and buy him back out of that, and not for a reasonable amount. So who comes back? We do need a right back. I think Lucas Vazquez has been very serviceable there as a backup, but it's a band-aid for what could potentially be a bullet wound. We cannot afford that.
Yeah, but Lucas Vazquez, I mean, he's had moments where he has defended very well. Okay, I won't deny that. However, he's not a natural right back.
And you can't teach that.
No. So he's a right midfielder. He's a right forward. Fantastic. I buy that 1,000%. Right back to back up Danny. Okay, we need that now, but I'm sorry. We are in a position where we should have two right backs that rotate. One is a legit starter, and the other one is right there behind. Okay, compete at a high level. That's what we should have. Okay, I don't like how in years past we would see players play out of position because we were lacking someone to come into that position. Because we had a thin bench.
Well, because we've been lucky enough that we have had a Lucas Vazquez and we have had a Nacho who can play, who was a natural left back, who became a great center back and can play on the right with some with some limitations, but he's there. We had the Sergio Ramos, who was a great right back and then becomes one of the greatest center backs of all time.
And that was a Mourinho call, by the way, because when he made that call, we won 15 games in a row.
Yeah, I think
I remember the streak. I remember the streak. Like
Mourinho made the Sergio Ramos that we all love, because Sergio Ramos was loved in Madrid. This established him as a Real Madrid legend, being a center back.
Yeah. Well, he came at 19 too. I mean, he had many years to go.
He still saw the last of the Galacticos. He was him and Marcelo saw the end of the first Galactico era. Yeah,
that's right. 2005 he came.
Yeah, in fact, Ramos played in Zidane's last season.
2005.
2005-06. That is correct. He was there. He played, if I recall correctly, that center back line was Cannavaro, and I forget who the other one might have been in the center back that really struck up. But it was then you had the end of Roberto Carlos and that left back, and then I believe maybe Cicinho used to even play in there, and then you had Sergio Ramos coming in on right back.
Right, wasn't Salgado backing up Sergio Ramos?
He might have been. Mitchell Salgado was there at the very end as well.
Sounds.
I don't think that Salgado was there. I want to say Elguera might have still been there. But I know.
Oh my God, Elguera! Remember that position of sweeper?
Oh yeah. Oh, he
was the sweeper. Remember that position no longer exists, by the way.
No, I don't know why they stopped making him like that.
Well, because of Neuer, like now they do the sweeper keeper, right? Hybrid position now.
Yeah. No, but Elguera was something else, I got to tell you. But yeah, no, I still remember Sergio Ramos because that his unveiling came in late in the season, in the off season of that to go into 05-06. So I remember he played with the last of the Galacticos. He played with Beckham. He played with Zidane. Figo was already gone by then. He played with Ronaldo right before he left Madrid to go back to Italy. So Ramos he can say he's played with the best players in the world and almost in history.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so we win 4-1. Great second half. It was uplifting. I could feel. I don't know if you did too in the stadium. Just the excitement, the momentum of
reassuring.
Reassuring that confidence. To take into the second leg against PSG. So now on Friday, Sevilla tied 0-0 against Alaves on the road, which is a terrific result for Madrid. So now we're up by 8 points with 11 games to go. So that's 33 points out in play. So just to put it in perspective for people that tell them how hard it is. You have for Sevilla to win the title. Let's just just throwing it out there. They have to win the rest of their games, 11 remaining games, and one of them is against Madrid in April. Okay, Easter weekend. Madrid have to lose 3 games for that to happen. That is daunting.
Madrid would have to lose 3 games, make it 4 should Sevilla fail to capitalize on beating Madrid in April.
Yeah. I think this Liga is going to be over that game. I think it's going to be over in that game.
I think the race for the top 2 ends on the Clásico. I think that day it ends.
Even earlier.
But Sevilla still leaves and bounds ahead of Betis and Barcelona and Atletico. They're almost 10 points ahead of them. But that day, I think on the 20th, we end the race for the top 2. And come April, we end La Liga.
Oh, I see.
That is the day that I think it could be.
So you're saying, okay, so you're saying in the Clásico, that's where the top 2 separate themselves completely.
I believe by in the 20th, it leaves. Okay. It becomes a race of 2.
I misunderstood that. I think it's a race of 2 anyway. I think the other clubs don't stand a chance. They just don't.
Not even to fight for. Yeah, they're way behind.
Yeah, Betis has the Copa final on the 23rd. They have Europa League, by the way. They advance. Barcelona has Europa League. So it's great. Let them keep going in Europa League. It's going to completely screw them up in La Liga.
Mm-hmm. It allows for us to just focus on Sevilla, on what Sevilla does or doesn't do, and we focus on keep advancing on champions.
Yeah, exactly. So here we go. All right. So now that's
lick my chops a little bit.
All right. Let's chop the lips here. Okay. So Wednesday night we have PSG coming to town. All right. No Casemiro, no Mendy, possibly no Cruz. Possibly, I don't know. Let's see. Maybe in the second half. So for you, like this game, how do you see this rolling out for Madrid?
Madrid. This is a final. I know we're down 1-0. We had to win regardless, whether we had tied in Paris or not. We would have to win regardless. So I don't consider this impossible. Absolutely not. Difficult. Yeah, it's PSG. It's a petro money team with amazing players. It's going to be difficult. It's meant to be. It's a Champions League, and in order to be the champion of the Champions League, you have to go through the best. I'm not a fan of going through the easier teams to get to the semifinal and final. No, give me the big ones, because 2, you establish your dominance in Europe, you put the fear in other teams, and you knock out a contender. Give me those from the start, and I've been saying that since before the failed draw by UEFA. So it's going to be amazing. Let me back up again to what I saw in a video after the game that took place yesterday in the Bernabeu. La Grada Blanca stays behind chanting Reyes de Europa, somos los Reyes de Europa, over and over and over. The team comes out on the field after the game's over, and once the stadium's empty pretty much, and comes and says thank you, and the team reassuring, we are here, we are not done, we are going to battle, we are going to win. You get to hear La Grada Blanca chanting like that on a quiet stadium, and the team coming out and just simply applauding. What does that tell you?
Oh,
that tells you that Madrid is coming out with 2 knives out and saying, let's go.
Yeah.
PSG came of an embarrassing loss yesterday as well, a 1-0. Yeah. I don't know if it's just their mind is already in Madrid, and it very well could be, but I think PSG also, they have great individual players and individualistic plays, but if Madrid plays the way they played against Sociedad, and we get crossed back with Valverde hopefully back as well, it could be a daunting midfield for PSG to really overtake. We have to ensure we controlled Messi excellent in the first game. It was Mbappe that made the whole difference. He basically bullied his way down the left flank. If we are going to allow Mbappe to do that to us, we need Vinicius to do that to PSG, because Vinicius had a terrible time in Paris because of the same thing.
Okay, so let's say to put the team out there, I mean, who would go in for Mendy's spot? Who would you put over there on the left?
I think it's going to have to be Alaba. I think Alaba is going to have to play left back, and that means They might need to.
He'd be guarding Messi.
He'll be guarding Messi. And I think it's going to have to be obviously Militao, who had a great game on Saturday, yesterday, by the way, as well, and more than likely Nacho as center back, where I can see Nacho and Alaba actually flip-flopping roles because they are both natural left backs as well. I think that is a great position to have. The game is not for Marcelo to play tomorrow. I think that it might be a game for him late in the game, whether if it's a positive result to say, Marcelo, this is your competition. And if it's a sad news, this could be Marcelo's last Champions League game with Madrid as a thank you to the Bernabeu. Marcelo is not to start.
Well, no, of course not. Yeah, I like what you said about Nacho and Alaba switching. I think I would put Nacho at left back and Alaba in the box with Militao just for insurance purposes. I think Nacho can handle Messi. I think he can.
He's handled him before.
Carvajal, part of me wants to put Lucas Vázquez at right midfield to drop back and double team and help him against Mbappe, because that's who you have to guard. That's the guy you have to worry about, really. That's the real threat. Because he can just eliminate you on his own. I mean, he's like that kind of a player. He's a LeBron James type of a figure in terms of like his not only his athleticism but his speed, and he's just lethal. Like they're just players like that, and he is one of them. And we do have, unfortunately, a weakness on that right side. Okay, so that we have the defense. Okay, the defense is set up. Midfield, I would toy with Lucas Vázquez at right mid just for defensive purposes, but we need to score goals. So who would you have in the midfield? And so there's no Casemiro.
There's no Casemiro, obviously, and there's question. I'm going to assume that Cruz starts in the bench at best.
Yeah.
I expect a midfield of obviously led by Luka Modric. I am taking the assumption that Valverde will get over his cold and will be able to start. That's two. And
you better be beefing up on Sudafed, man.
You know what? Give me some of the Sudafed. Give me some emergency.
Sudafed, Robitussin. Give him, just throw it like liquid IV, whatever.
Give me the kitchen sink if it takes that.
Yeah.
What I saw from Eduardo Kamavinga gives me enough to want to play, but I feel like he might be slightly outplayed because of the type of players that PSG has. However, if there's a player that is very familiar with PSG, that would be Eduardo Kamavinga. He came from League One just last year. He is very familiar with what to expect in there. I think he could play there. I don't see us going into like a 4-2-4-ish of some kind. It needs to be a solid 4-3-3. So it's got to be Luka. It's got to be Valverde. And to be honest, I'm expecting Eduardo to start there. I don't know. Call it a hunch. That's just what I'm expecting. I don't know that he might be the best fit, but I think the way I see it, he might be the best that we have based on the absences and the injury by Tony. I would hate for us to risk Cross and him come out 10 minutes in because we rushed him.
Yeah, no, of course not. Now in the forward lineup, with Vinicius, you got Benzema. You probably have, I would say, Asensio would probably be called on.
I think so too. I think Asensio was given a little bit of rest yesterday, and he came in just to kind of keep that that machine well oiled. It wasn't that Rodrigo is ahead of Asensio. I think it's the opposite. I do believe, though, that if we see that absent Asensio we have seen in games past, where he's just a shadow of who he really is, the sub for him being Rodrigo, being whoever it's going to be, whether it's Gareth Bale or it's Eden Hazard, whoever it is, whether it's Lucas Vázquez coming in there, it needs to come early in the second half if Asensio has a terrible first half. If we cannot wait to take out Asensio until the 75th minute. By then, it's too late.
Yeah. Also, let's say we're tied and, we need to win to get to win the, inside 90 minutes to get to extra time. I do believe Gareth Bale and Eden Hazard are going to be jumping in. I really think Ancelotti has to throw the kitchen sink. I would be throwing the kitchen sink at that point. I'd be like, okay, no. We need to win this game. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we got to throw as much of the weapons as we have at them. I mean, they're a good defensive team. They're not a great defensive team. And also, they are hunting to win their first Champions League title. And that making history aspect weighs on teams that have never done it before.
which is why they brought in players of the caliber of Ramos and Messi, because they know what it is. They have been there. They can help the team stay at bay if necessary. And sadly, Sergio Ramos has had a 2 years to forget for anyone. And I want to see Sergio Ramos get a very warm welcome in Madrid. I want the same. I expect the same for Keylor Navas. Because of how much he meant to the club. Angel Di Maria, there's so much Madridismo coming back that I think it's La Grada should be respectful enough of them and where they are today, regardless of what went down or how they left the team or whatnot. There is a lot of success that came out of these players and a lot of glory that was that is now a part of Madrid's history for us to forget that.
Yeah. Let's get a prediction.
I think we go into extra time, so we win. I'm gonna go with the 2-1 and 90, and we advance in extra time.
Extra time. Okay. I say we win 2-1, and we advance on penalty kicks.
You and I are right there. I think you know what? Next time I see you, we're gonna wager an adult beverage on who was closest to this, because exactly. we are right there. So it's either PK. So we advance. It's either PKs or extra time.
I think that I say penalty kicks because I have the utmost confidence in Thibaut.
Senor, the way Fernando Palomo from ESPN says, I love watching the Spanish transmission just because I love Fernando Palomo. He calls him just Tiburcio. I find it so charming. Now it's just like it's such a not as common of a name anymore in Hispanic society that I hear that I'm like, yep, that's why I like Fernando Palomo.
Exactly. So I mean, now the bigger themes that we are facing in this second leg. Yes, we're trying to get our 14th Champions League title, which is raising the ceiling. Okay. But what we're also facing, I think, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this as well, is that, we are the old school vanguard traditional institution that helped create UEFA, and PSG is the new darling for UEFA. And what happened last April, it'll almost be a year since the Super League was announced, PSG became closer to UEFA executive level. And that mafia, exactly correct. So what we have at play in this second leg is that one club is being put as a favorite in their eyes, and the other one is, well, we've used you before, and we don't need you anymore. We got the new school versus the old school. It's a bit, for lack of a better term. I mean, what do you think of that?
It's an interesting concept. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be frank. I am a little disgusted by that new school found love between UEFA and not PSG as an entity, but what it represents and the way it's come about its players, its money. Like I feel like I'm not a fan of teams that just get that shot of adrenaline with unlimited amount of capital resources. I don't think that's what football is. I don't think that's what football should ever be. So I dwell on that, and I think for that is what sours my perspective of what that you called it, that mafia really looks at. Call me traditional, call me old school, call me a diehard Madridista, and even if we weren't the darling or the measuring stick in Europe, regardless to UEFA before, I still don't condone that. I think a club should just come in and say, I have all the money in the world, so have at it. I'm going to get my first champions because I can pay for it. I just, that just, it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah. It's I mirror what you're saying. I don't like these institutions like Paris Saint-Germain and Manchester City, where they can just basically go to their well and pick out money as much as they want, and they lose money every single year, and they can spend and they don't care. And how can you compete against that? I mean, institutions that are member owned, like Real Madrid, Athletic Bilbao, Barcelona, Atletico de Madrid, to name a few, how can you compete with that? You can't compete with that.
And you know what? And it, kudos to those players, and I'm speaking here, I'm referring to the one that I hope comes, the one that I hope will resist temptation of £1 million a week. And kudos to him and his strong mentality. and I said this before, if what he wants is money, he would have already signed long ago, regardless of what they promised him or not, because players that want money go where the money is. I've seen players of the caliber of Oscar that left Chelsea to go to China for 30-something million net a year because he was chasing money. He literally was. I don't think a player of the caliber that he had.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Players like Hulk did that too. And it's fine. I get that. Yeah. We have to take care of ourselves, our families, by all means. I think Mbappe is, if this goes the way everybody has dreamed about, and I'm going to just use that word specifically because I don't want to say that anybody's agreed to anything, but I think that he's a man of his word if there was really ever a verbal comment made or not. Also, he knows that his future and that future potential Ballon d'Or resides in a team like Madrid and not elsewhere. I think that that is why teams that can just fork out money left and right, like they can go to their wishing well and they get it. They don't do it for me. So good for him. Good for players that choose the glory of reaching a Champions League, of becoming the best player in the world in a club that cannot offer you and cannot ever compete with the wages that you will get elsewhere. But you know what you're getting by going to that institution. It's not just about winning trophies. It's about what they represent and what you will represent for them.
Well, I mean, I think he's coming in the summer anyway. I think he's coming for not on a free transfer. Let's say he's going to sign a major contract, and then that's my thought.
There's going to be lots of money.
That's my thought. But let's just put the cards on the table for the moment. Mm-hmm. Is that okay? PSG had all this time where they could have re-signed him and locked him up, and they haven't been able to. And he's trying to keep his options open. I think that this second leg has a lot to do with that, because let's say just PSG advances and they go all the way and they win a Champions League title. There could be a possibility that the board, that president, goes to him and his people and say, hey, they're old news. Real Madrid's old news. This is the 21st century. This is where we are going to build the next program moving forward to dominate. You're like, you know what I'm saying? To make a pitch, to say, no, you know what, you're going, no, you can become the first, like Don Alfredo was for us. You know, like this is what I would be telling him if I'm the PSG president. I was like, look, you want to make your name, like you really want to make your legacy at a club that's really, you will be the number one for years to come. If you go there, you're just another superstar. Because they've had multiple, you know what I'm saying? That is the danger.
That's a great sales pitch.
That is the danger that I see of what's going to happen if it goes that route. Mm-hmm. Now, if we beat them, if we eliminate them and we advance, and there's turmoil in PSG because they don't know, you know, let's say Messi takes off and Ramos takes off and there's a lot of uncertainty, he could be like, I'm abandoning ship. You don't know what you're doing over here. Mm-hmm. They clearly do, that meaning Real Madrid. They clearly know what
they figure it out.
They don't. They've been doing it. So why not join that program? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that supporters need to understand, is that, you know, money is there. It's not a matter of money. This is a matter of legacy. It's a matter of competing at the highest level. It's a lot of factors that have to do with it.
And that's what I was saying. Like, if it was about money, he would have signed a long time ago.
Not even. I mean, he'd be the most stupid guy in the world to not do it. Mm-hmm. But again, there's a lot at play here, and I think that's why he's keeping his options open. I give him full credit for that. No, listen, I give him full credit for that. You know, keeping your options open, we all should be doing that to a point. We all should be looking at the whole picture. You know, don't be blinded by, this is, you know, because he was in Monaco. People forgot that he was in Monaco.
Yeah, he was a scrawny little kid in Monaco. I mean, I almost forgot what he looked like back then.
And did anyone remember? No,
I don't think anybody ever will.
I remember they went to the semifinals in Champions League. I remember that run. I do remember that. Not many people do, but I do.
Yeah, he was a 17-year-old kid, 17, 18-year-old kid. Mm-hmm. You know, starting to make his name in football history.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. All right, so now let's go into this fun segment. This is a special segment because today, as you know, CESAR is a special day for the club.
I think anybody ever. I remember.
Hold on. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
All right, good. So here we go. Let's see if we can get this.
That is a song. You're playing on my heart in two ways with that song right now.
All right. I'm playing that. I have to cut it because otherwise YouTube would come after me. All right. Credit to Cool and the Gang on that one. The 120th birthday in Real Madrid.
120.
1902. 20 years.
What a legacy. What an institution. Let me tell you that I'm even embracing it even more than I always did. I just finished watching the Amazon Prime miniseries Leyenda Blanca, which, by the way, very well put. I love all the legends that were there. It gave me so much of a closer feel and of what I've known about Real Madrid's history. But that just, again, going back to Don Alfredo, one of the greatest that this world will ever see. And just hearing stories about how he was and how he changed Real Madrid, because Don Alfredo and Don Santiago Bernabeu. I mean, I think there would be no Real Madrid today without neither one of those two. Mm-hmm. And 120 years is something you say is easy, but it's not just 120 years. There's entities that have been around 120 years and more. 120 years of glory, of trophies, of elite players, of Champions League, European titles, the best players out there. It's just, there's so much more. We were crowned the best club of the 20th century for a reason, and we will be crowned the best club in the 21st century. We won't be there to see it, more than likely. I don't think I'll be 120, but
you're gonna be 140. What are you talking about? You're gonna outlive all of us.
But Madrid equals what football is. I think there is no football without saying Real Madrid, and there's no Real Madrid without saying we are the history of football.
By the way, that's a fantastic documentary, Real Madrid, La Leyenda Blanca, on Amazon Prime. I recommend everybody watch it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I still have to watch the last 2 episodes, but CESAR and everyone watching, go to the last slide of the end credits. You'll see a name you recognize, 4th from the top.
Okay. I'll have to go back and check it out.
Mm-hmm. I'll leave it there.
Okay.
So here's the question I had. Now, take away Ramos's goal. What is a goal that symbolizes Real Madrid to you, that you've seen, that you witnessed?
Oh, Zidane's goal in the final.
Zidane's goal in the final.
Okay. Just what it meant, that finish.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking European or just in general?
No,
European,
in general. No, in general.
I think Zidane's goal in the final means that just because of what it meant, the way it was done, the way Leverkusen was such a tough team. As I've been watching Leyenda Blanca, it made me get once again enamored with Peja's goal because of how much it meant. I think I needed to hear from their side how much really was, because La Sétima had been a dream to so many players, and to know that out of La Quinta del Buitre, only Manolo Sanchis got the chance to lift the Champions League. It's sad to think about. So that goal made me think a lot. And another goal that it didn't mean a championship, but it meant a lot of what Real Madrid is today. That goal with Ronaldo, when he finally says, "Calm down, I'm here." I think that goal is one of those that says that. I think that goal emphasizes what Cristiano Ronaldo is to the 21st century Real Madrid. Ronaldo is to Real Madrid in the 21st century what Don Alfredo was in the 20th.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on the money with that. I would say the goal that's iconic is not a goal that it didn't win a Champions League title, but it was in a Champions League tournament. It was 2012, I want to say 2012 against Ajax at home, and it was the counterattack that Cristiano finished in the Bernabeu.
Was that the counter attack we had in like 7 seconds, something like that? It was just lightning bolt. I remember that. That was Mourinho's school teachings right there. That was Mourinho's tactics at their best.
Yeah, that was a counterattack that it was boom, 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 goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was, and it was in a Champions League setting against a 4-time winner in Ajax, and Ronaldo finishing that possession like that. The supporters, the grada, just everyone's standing, like, you know how you're standing up to see something building.
You know something great is developing. You can see it. You can feel
up, it. And then when he finishes it, if you look at the behind the goal, the euphoria that you see is just out of this world. I mean, they were just blown away by the goal. And that to me is exactly what Real Madrid is all about, is that Real Madrid is able to spark our imagination and able to take us to a place that we can only dream of, and they make it the reality. That's the evolution of that goal is exactly why we love Real Madrid so much. What separates Real Madrid from all the other big clubs in Europe,
exactly,
in the world? Frankly,
what an amazing play that was. I'm reliving it as you're talking about it. It's just like I feel like that's the way you draw it in the board. You do a zigzag of what it's done, and then boom, and one out of a million will come out, and it happened.
Which okay, now you mentioned that goal that Ronaldo did where he was like, this, calma.
I'm here.
And what about the Raul goal? What about the Raul goal in Barcelona where he does this?
Amazing goal. I think the celebration is almost more iconic than the goal itself. I think it's because it takes some cojones to shout out to the grada and say, no more. The goal needed to happen for that, but that celebration might be one of the most iconic celebrations in Real Madrid history. I think because of who scored it is our captain, our legend, our angel. And at a time where, Barcelona was just furious at us for so many reasons, and we go in and we score. Raul's like, I can see him with that beautiful, overly big jersey that we had back then. It was that like 2000 and 2002 jersey we had. That I have one with Redondo's name in black, but it was just a beautiful jersey back then. It was one of the most awesome celebrations I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, we could go on and on and on and on about the most amazing goals, the most amazing regateo and saves and just, whatever you want to, games even in full. It's so rich in history. I mean, you could do a documentary on every single, period, and it would be just as full in life.
You know what? Let me put it this way, and I don't mean to brag, but the same way people have dedicated their scholar studies and their scholar lives to Egypt alone, Egyptologists, they could be Real Madridologists, just the same exact way. Somebody could devote their whole life, and they still wouldn't be able to get everything.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just the way I see how rich we are as a club, as an entity.
Right. And before I forget, it is Real Madrid's birthday, but it's 2 birthdays as well on top of that. Kenneth Jamora, former chairman, founder of Peña Madrista San Francisco Bay Area. It's his birthday, our dear friend. Happy birthday to Kenneth. And Mohammed Kabir, who's the president of Jordan Blancos. It's his birthday as well. So very happy birthday to Mohammed, very close friend of ours. Wrapping it up, I know you had some news. So floor is yours, Senator.
Well, first, I want to actually take a minute with sharing our stand as Peña. One, we are very saddened with the global news that are happening in Europe, obviously with the invasion of Ukraine. So, Peña Madrista, we fully understand. I think we saw such a touching moment yesterday, seeing Andrew Lunin coming out of the bench, and that made me even feel more. War needs to stop. Violence needs to stop, and we do not condone what's going on over there. I don't mean to get political or whatnot, but I think it's important that we do acknowledge that. And then one more thing that happened yesterday that I feel utterly disgusted by, sadly, is what happened in Mexico yesterday at a game between Atlas and Querétaro, where 2 ultra fan bases went at it, and there's just tons of injured people. There's alleged people that might have perished during the incidences. This is sad that our sport also has that side of these hooligans, these people that just don't care what happens. Us as a Peña Madridismo, and I feel confident that I can speak for Madridismo USA as well. Nobody condones that type of action, and I hope that whatever measures that need to take in order for this to stop do take place, because there's no room for violence. There's no room for these types of stupidities in football. So that's one thing I wanted to touch. Another one is there are some we have a big event coming up for the Clásico. So our news are we are partnering up with the local bar called Busworks. We have been working with them for a while, and more than anything else, we're working on promotional. We're bringing in some swag. We're bringing in some of those beautiful beer mugs that we're going to be working together. So our plan is there'll be some food going on. We're going to have some great time. The board has some great news to announce as far as like some of our future plans and what we're going towards. So this is a reassurance. Our news is Peña Madridista is here. Peña Madridista is strong. We might have been hurt over the pandemic, but we did not die. We are here. We're coming back, and be ready, San Francisco Bay Area. We're coming. We are looking forward to a great summer of signings, hopefully a great summer of football and coming to the West Coast. But more than anything else, I do feel that Peña Madridista San Francisco is becoming stronger and more united than ever, because we suffered so much that all we have left is to build back up and get going. So that is our news. We are ready to go. We are here for you, Madridistas.
Yeah, thank you very much, Cesar, for that, informing us of that. And war is hell. Number one, it's horrendous. It really is. No matter what side it is. Okay, just
exactly
loss of life, loss of our way of being as a people in the world. I mean, it's terrible. Okay. The other thing about what happened in Mexico, yeah, violence has no place in soccer, and in sport for that matter. The year is 2022, and we're still dealing with behavior that had been going on in the 80s and in the 60s. Like,
it's sad. It's depressing to know that things like that still happen, and I hope that things do get better. And if those people that were injured, and if there was anybody that was, or thoughts that with you, and hopefully
thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers.
This is something that can be prevented.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers to everyone affected, basically.
Absolutely.
But on the high note now is, yes, that's welcome news about you're going to have a big event for the Clásico.
The first big event in over 2 years.
2 years. Everyone in San Francisco, please go check that out. Go to Buzzword. Go check you guys on social media. What are your social media accounts again?
Correct. So you can find me under, if you look at my name below, it's at CESAR23. That's my personal Twitter handle. You can also find us on Twitter at Madridistas SF, Madridistas in plural. You can use that handle and find us on Instagram, on Meetup, on Facebook, on Twitter. I'm happy to assist with anything that comes up. My fellow chair members and the board, we are always there. We will be there in full swing, and since early. Madridistas, socios, get there early. You get priority entrance, and sitting coming up, it's gonna get full.
Absolutely.
Since the Clásico in 2019, before COVID broke out, that was our last big event. We've gone full circle.
March 2020. Yeah.
March, exactly. So now March 2022, a full year basically. And like everybody, we have some tough times, but we are here. We are coming back. We should be rebranded as Peña Madridista Phoenix, and not Phoenix, Arizona, but we are the Phoenix. We're coming back around, and we're coming back strong.
Yes, absolutely. So everyone in the Bay Area, Madridistas, please go to the events. Please support. Please. This is, let's try to come together again. Let's try to heal those wounds. It's been very difficult 2 years. Let's try to make that step forward. And so it's really great. So Cesar, thank you so much for being on. It's really a pleasure to see you again. I'm so happy you're doing well. The family's doing well. The Peña's making this comeback after this pandemic. So big hug from here in Southern California. If you have one final message to our audience.
Get ready, because it's going to be, I think, an end of season for great celebration. I think I see a lot of big things happening. Stay safe, nonetheless. if we do get the chance to engage in social activities, a soccer game here and there, perhaps we might be graced by the beautiful white visit over the summer. And if we do, be respectful of everyone, and more than anything else, at the Clásico, if you happen to be at a location where there's people of the opposite team, be courteous, be kind, and expect and know that giving respect gives respect back. That's the best thing I can do. Stay safe.
Yeah. And everyone watching this, I mean, please subscribe down below, push the like button, leave a comment, let us know what you think. We want to hear from you. We want to do better. We want to keep going. And we are getting closer and closer to the 100th episode. We are getting closer, everybody. All right. So let's bump up those subscribers. Let's bump up those likes. Let's get going. Let's build some more momentum. This channel was built when the pandemic began, and we are not going to stop. We are going to keep moving forward. So
absolutely, there's so much here for you guys. So, Chris, it's an honor being here as always, and I look forward to being here for another 100 episodes.
Absolutely. So, CESAR, take it easy over there in San Francisco. Cheers to everybody. A la Madrid, nada más. A por la 14ª.
La 14ª.